Hello, I'm back with another DaVinci Resolve tutorial. This time I'm going to look at basic transitions between scenes and how we produce them. Hello, welcome to In Studio. I'm Ian M. Butterfield and welcome to this series of videos on DaVinci Resolve. In the previous videos in the series, we looked at setting DaVinci up, we've looked at some basic editing and some basic sound editing on there, but we've done everything with a single scene. So what do you do if you've got more than one scene? In this video, we're going to look at how we join the scenes together and how we handle transitions between different types of scenes. So let's head over into Resolve and I can tell you all about it. Right, so here we are in DaVinci. Again, I'm working on some of the church videos that I've been editing, and I've got a couple of scenes here, and I've just put them separate on the timeline, but we need to join them together. So obviously the most obvious join is what's called a cut. So we put them together like this, so they butt against each other. So let's play this through and see what it sounds like.
The one who performed them and believe in God's future that is coming one day through him.
They sang a hymn and went out to the Mount of Olives.
So as you can hear from that, it's a very abrupt transition between one scene and the other, and there is a gap between. So when Mike on the first scene stops talking, there's this little pause, and then suddenly we're into our reader on the other side. So let's look at how we deal with that and make a much more pleasing transition between the two. So I'm just going to zoom in, so hold the Alt key and use the mouse wheel on here, and here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim each of these videos down. So let's start with the first clip on there, Control B to put a break in, on the next one about there, and I'm using the audio track to work out where I need to do those breaks. Control B on there, and then I can just highlight both of those and Shift-Backspace will just close it all up. So let me show you what that clip now sounds like.
One day through him.
They sang a hymn and went out.
Now removing that gap makes it much more it flows much better, but the moving between one scene to another feels a little bit clunky. But we have a nice, easy way to solve that. If we click on the join between the two and then right click, we have the option to put a crossfade in there. And now we're working in this one actually, 25 frames per second, so that would be a 1 second transition between the two. So now again, if I just play this through, you can see the effect.
One day through him.
They sang a hymn.
I think you'll agree that's a much more pleasing transition between the two scenes. However, that sort of transition doesn't always work. Let's move over to my next scene that we have. I'll just zoom out, makes it a little bit easier to move along. And here we've got two readings by two people done on the same day in the same location. And if I just zoom in on here and do exactly as I did before, let's trim out the excess. So Control B and Control B. Highlight the two in the middle, Shift-Backspace, and it's gone. So now, if I play the transition here, again, without putting the fade in, you'll see a rather weird effect.
And ran away naked.
They took Jesus.
That move from one scene to the other, because the camera is in exactly the same place, it just looks as though it just feels awkward, that move between the two. And it's not improved by even doing a fade on there. So if I put a 1 second crossfade in there and I still play that through.
And he left the tunic and ran away naked.
They took Jesus away to the high priest.
Because there's no change with the background, it does feel a little bit odd, that particular transition. So there is a solution to it, and that is to use a different type of transition. Easiest ones to go for, let me go over here, so Effects Library, enable that if you haven't already, and we look down here, Video Transitions. And we've got various ones that we can use. But if we look for something that's going to sort of push one way or the other. Now, the way I tend to work with these is I'll put the cursor in the middle and then I'll just try different transitions. So let's try a slice push and drop that on. And again, no, I'm not sure about that one. What about a split and drop that on in the middle? That might work. But possibly the better sort of thing is something that pushes it out of the way or slides it out of the way. So if I take a push, pop that on, and then we go with that, let me play that one in, and you'll see what that one looks like.
And ran away naked.
They took Jesus away to the high priest.
And personally, I think that kind of transition works better where the background doesn't change. Now, I have been using some other more interesting transitions, sort of swirls and rotates and things like that. What comes with DaVinci as standard isn't that interesting, to be honest with you. But if you go to a channel called Mr. Alex Tech, I'll put the link down below the video. He's got a number of sort of donationware transitions there which can be used, and I've been using those spins and push zooms and things like that for a long while, and that adds a lot more interest to it. I'll probably do a separate video on that at some point about where you get them from, how to install them, and how they look. But for this video, I just wanted to go with the standard ones to show you what's possible there. So that's how you do basic transitions between scenes and how you run things together. I hope you found it helpful. In the next video in this series, we're going to look at a concept known as a J-cut or an L-cut. They're two different things, and they are more advanced ways of transitioning from one scene into another, and they're designed to help the flow go from one scene to another. So join me on that, and to make sure you don't miss it, hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell so you'll get the notification of it. And on the screen now will be the playlist of all my DaVinci videos, so do have a look at that if you haven't seen the previous ones already. And also on the screen will be the next video in the series as soon as it's published. So until next time, keep making great photos and making great videos too. Bye for now.